There comes a moment in every life when you realize that your energy is sacred, your time is precious, and your focus determines your future. Yet, most of us spend years looking outward, comparing, competing, chasing validation, and seeking approval from others. We measure our worth by someone else's success, forgetting that our true purpose is not found in their reflection, but in our own. You cannot build your peace while looking into someone else's life. You cannot grow while your eyes are fixed on their path. The real breakthrough happens when you decide to turn inward. When you stop asking, what are they doing? And start asking, who am I becoming? Today, I want to remind you that your power lies not in the opinions of others, but in the quiet decisions you make when no one is watching. Focus on yourself, your healing, your growth, your dreams, and your purpose. Because when you do, you become unstoppable. Comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is one of the most silent destroyers of human peace. It creeps in quietly when you least expect it, whispering that you are behind, that you are not enough, that someone else is doing better, earning more, looking happier, or living a more beautiful life than you. You open your phone, you scroll through images of perfect smiles, perfect homes, perfect lives, and suddenly your heart sinks a little. You begin to question your own worth, your own progress, your own story. But the truth, my friend, is this: comparison is a lie, a thief that steals the light from your soul and replaces it with doubt. Every single person you see in this world is walking their own path, fighting their own unseen battles, carrying their own fears and insecurities. Yet we forget this truth because we only see what people choose to show. We compare our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. We compare our starting chapter to someone else's completed story. And in doing so, we destroy the very peace we're working so hard to build. When you constantly measure your life by the lives of others, you'll never feel complete. No matter what you achieve, there will always be someone who seems to be doing more, living better, moving faster. But the race was never between you and them. It was always between who you are and who you're becoming. The only person you should be trying to be better than is the version of yourself from yesterday. If you wake up each morning with a grateful heart, if you try just a little harder to be kind, focused, and peaceful than you were before, that is progress. That is growth. And that is enough. Your journey doesn't need to look like anyone else's to be meaningful. Let me tell you something. The people who truly live fulfilled lives aren't the ones who have most. They're the ones who appreciate the most. When you focus on gratitude, comparison loses its power. You start seeing beauty in your ordinary days, strength in your small victories, and peace in your imperfections. You realize that life isn't about winning against others. It's about growing within yourself. Think about it. A flower doesn't look at the one next to it and wonder if it's prettier. It just blooms. It stands tall, it faces the sun, and it grows at its own pace. That's exactly what you're meant to do. You're meant to bloom where you are, in your own time, in your own way. There will always be people ahead of you and people behind you, but none of them can walk your path for you. You have your own lessons, your own blessings, your own purpose written deep within your soul. And if you spend your days staring at someone else's path, you'll miss the beauty of your own. So stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Stop measuring your worth by their achievements. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you are meant to be right now, learning, growing, and preparing for the next step that life is shaping for you. The moment you release comparison, your spirit begins to breathe again. You start to see yourself clearly, not through the eyes of others, but through the truth of your own heart. You begin to realize that joy was never missing. It was simply overshadowed by envy. So, from this day forward, choose to celebrate others without questioning yourself. Choose to admire without envying. Choose to grow without competing, because the secret to peace is not found in being better than anyone else. It's found in being content, grateful, and grounded in who you already are. When you stop comparing, you start living. When you stop competing, you start creating. And when you stop looking outward, you finally see that everything you were searching for has been within you all along. The power of self-awareness. Know who you are and what you stand for in a world full of noise, distractions, and opinions. The most courageous thing you can ever do is to know yourself. Truly know yourself. Beyond what others think, beyond what the world expects, beyond the masks you wear to feel accepted. Because when you know who you are, stop seeking validation from others, and you begin to build your life from a place of truth rather than approval. Most people live their entire lives being everything for everyone else, trying to fit in, trying to please, trying to prove their worth to a world that will never be satisfied. They wake up every morning chasing perfection, chasing recognition, chasing love, not realizing that all of it already exists within them. Self-awareness is not about fixing who you are. It's about remembering who you've always been. When you start focusing on yourself, the first thing you'll notice is silence. The kind of silence that makes you uncomfortable, because for the first time, you're alone with your own thoughts. And that's where transformation begins. That silence is sacred. It's where your truth begins to whisper, "This is who I am." It's in that quiet space where your heart begins to speak, where your dreams start to surface, and where your purpose starts to come alive. To be self-aware means to understand your emotions, your triggers, your habits, and your patterns. It means looking in the mirror and saying, I know where I fall short, but I also know where I shine. It's accepting yourself, not just the parts that are beautiful and easy to love, but also the ones that are messy, scared, and imperfect. Because real growth doesn't happen when you deny your flaws. It happens when you embrace them with compassion and courage. When you know who you are, people's opinions stop controlling your emotions. Someone else's success doesn't make you feel small, and someone else's judgment doesn't make you question your worth. You begin to understand that their perspective is not your truth. Their approval is not your purpose. Their acceptance is not your validation. The truth is, you cannot build a strong life on a weak foundation of external approval. You cannot grow deeply if your roots depend on shallow praise. The moment you understand this, you start living differently. You make decisions not to please others, but honor your own values. You stop saying, yes, when your heart screams, no. You stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. You start surrounding yourself with people who don't just like you, but who respect you for who you truly are. You begin to protect your peace, your energy, and your time because you finally realize how precious they are. Self-awareness teaches you that not every battle deserves your energy. Not every opinion deserves your response, and not every opportunity deserves your presence. It teaches you to pause before reacting, to reflect before deciding, and to trust your inner wisdom above the noise of the world. When you are self-aware, your life begins to align. You stop chasing and you start attracting. You stop begging for respect and you start commanding it through your energy. You stop trying to fit in because you finally understand that you were never meant to blend. You were meant to stand out. And here's the most beautiful part. When you truly know yourself, you become unshockable. The world can misunderstand you. People can walk away. Protect your energy. You can't pour from an empty cup. One of the most powerful lessons you'll ever learn in life is that your energy is sacred. The way you feel, the way you think, the way you show up for yourself and others. All of it begins with your energy. Yet, too many of us spend our lives giving, helping, fixing, and pleasing until we are left completely drained, emotionally exhausted, and spiritually empty. We give everything we have and then wonder why we feel lost, tired, or broken. But here's the truth. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Every person you interact with either adds to your energy or takes from it. Every environment you enter either nourishes your spirit or drains it. Every thought you allow into your mind either strengthens your peace or steals it away. That's why protecting your energy is not selfish. It's essential. Because the more you protect your energy, the more powerful you become. There comes a time in your life when you have to pause and ask yourself, who or what am I giving my energy to? Are you spending your days surrounded by people who uplift you? ors who leave you feeling small and unseen? Are you investing your time in things that grow you or wasting it on distractions that keep you stagnant? These questions are not easy to ask, but they are necessary for your growth. You see, many people confuse kindness with self-sacrifice. They think being loving means saying yes to everyone, fixing everything, and being available at all times. But love without boundaries leads to burnout. Compassion without balance leads to exhaustion. You can care deeply and still say no. You can be kind and still protect your peace. You can love others without abandoning yourself. When you start focusing on yourself, you begin to realize how much energy you've been giving away to things that don't deserve it. Arguments that lead nowhere, relationships that drain your spirit, expectations that only bring guilt, and comparisons that only create pain. Protecting your energy means choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, and rest over resistance. Learn to walk away without anger, without explanation, and without regret. Not every situation deserves a reaction. Not every person deserves access to your heart. Not every opinion deserves a response. Protecting your energy means allowing silence to do the talking. It means trusting that distance doesn't always mean dislike. Sometimes it simply means healing. You must also learn to create sacred spaces in your life. Spaces where you can breathe, recharge, and reconnect with your purpose. That might mean waking up earlier to meditate, spending time in nature, journaling your thoughts, or simply sitting quietly with yourself. Because every moment you spend nurturing your inner world strengthens your outer world. Remember this. Your energy sets the tone for your life. What you tolerate becomes what you attract. If you constantly give your energy to people or things that drain you, life will keep sending you more of the same. But when you protect your energy, when you become intentional about where your attention goes, life begins to shift. You start attracting peace, kindness, growth, and opportunities that align with your true self. And protecting your energy isn't about isolation. It's about preservation. It's not about closing your heart. It's about keeping it pure. Because when your energy is clear, your vision becomes sharper, your decisions become wiser, and your spirit becomes stronger. So guard your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Protect it from negativity, from gossip, from toxic people, and from your own self-doubt. Fill your days with things that bring you peace. Fill your heart with gratitude and fill your mind with hope. When your energy is balanced, you stop chasing happiness. You start radiating it. You stop seeking validation. You start embodying confidence. And you stop living in survival mode. You start thriving in your purpose. Remember, your peace is your power. Your energy is your wealth. And your boundaries are your strength. Protect them fiercely, because when you protect your energy, you protect your destiny. Embrace your journey. Patience is the key to growth. Life is not a race, and growth is not a sprint. Yet, so many of us spend our days looking at everyone else, feeling impatient, feeling frustrated, feeling as though we are falling behind. We measure our progress against the timeline of others, wondering why we are not where we should be, why success feels delayed, or why our dreams seem far away. But the truth is this: your journey is yours alone, and patience, the secret that allows it to unfold beautifully. From the moment you decide to focus on yourself, you must accept that real transformation does not happen overnight. It cannot be rushed, forced, or copied from someone else's life. Growth happens quietly, steadily, and often in ways that are invisible to the outside world. Every experience, every challenge, every setback is a step on your path, and every step, no matter how small, contributes to the masterpiece of your life. It is natural to feel impatient. Society tells us to hurry, to compare, to achieve faster, to acquire more, to always be ahead. Social media only amplifies this pressure, showing curated highlights that make us feel inadequate and making us believe that everyone else is moving faster. But life is not about speed. It is about depth. It is not about comparison. It is about alignment. When you embrace patience, you begin to understand that your timing is perfect, even when it doesn't feel like it. Patience is not passive. It is active. It is the quiet determination to keep going, to keep learning, and to keep believing, even when results are not immediately visible. It is the courage to plant seeds today and trust that they will bloom tomorrow. It is understanding that setbacks are not failures, but lessons, and that delays are not celebrate small wins. Every step forward matters. In our pursuit of success, happiness, and growth, we often overlook the beauty and power of small victories. We wait for the monumental moments, the promotions, the awards, the recognition, the applause. To feel proud, to feel accomplished, or to feel worthy. But the truth, my friend, is that real transformation is built on the accumulation of small wins, and every step forward, no matter how tiny, deserves to be celebrated. Too often, we measure progress by unrealistic standards, comparing our beginnings to someone else's middle or end. We forget that growth is a journey, and each moment of effort, each choice to rise above fear, each act of courage, and each decision to keep going is a victory in itself. If you only celebrate the big wins, you risk overlooking the very moments that are shaping you, strengthening you, and preparing you for what's next. Think about your day-to-day life. Every time you choose patience over frustration, every time you respond with kindness instead of anger, every time you forgive yourself for a mistake, you are winning. Every time you set boundaries, prioritize your peace, or speak your truth, you are taking steps toward the life you are meant to live. These may seem small, invisible, or insignificant, but together they create momentum. Together they build resilience. Together, they define who you are becoming. Celebrating small wins also nurtures your confidence. Confidence is not built solely on large achievements. It is strengthened every time you recognize your effort and acknowledge your growth. When you pause to honor even minor accomplishments, your mind begins to see possibility, your heart feels gratitude, and your spirit gains courage. You start to trust yourself. You start to believe in your journey. And you start to understand that progress is progress, no matter the pace. Moreover, celebrating small wins teaches you the art of gratitude. It shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have, from what you fear to what you've accomplished, from comparison to self-appreciation. When you celebrate your progress, you stop living in the shadow of others and start embracing the light of your own achievements. You recognize that your path is unique. Your timing is perfect, and your growth is unfolding exactly as it should. The journey of self-growth is rarely linear. There will be setbacks, distractions, and moments of doubt. And in those moments, small wins act as anchors, reminders that you are moving forward, that your effort is meaningful, and that your future is being built one step at a time. These small victories give you the strength to keep going when the world feels heavy, and they create a pattern of success that becomes unstoppable over time. So take the time to honor yourself every day, every week, and every month. Celebrate the small wins that others may overlook. Celebrate the courage it took to show up. Celebrate the resilience it took to try again. Celebrate the decisions you made to prioritize yourself. Because when you recognize these moments, you fuel your motivation, strengthen your mindset, and embrace the journey with joy and purpose. Remember, the life you desire is not only built on grand achievements, it is built on the countless small victories that quietly shape you, teach you, and prepare you to step into your fullest potential. Celebrate yourself, celebrate your effort, and never underestimate the power of acknowledging every step forward, because every step brings you closer to becoming the person you were always meant to be. As we come to the close of this journey together, remember this: your life is not measured by the achievements of others, by their opinions, or by the pace at which they move. Your life is measured by your growth, your courage, your resilience, and the choices you make when no one is watching. Every lesson we've explored, from understanding that comparison is the thief of joy to protecting your energy, embracing self-awareness, being patient with your journey, celebrating small wins, finding strength in silence, and realizing that focus is freedom, all lead to one undeniable truth: your focus determines your life. When you stop looking outward and start looking inward, when you stop seeking validation and start seeking your own truth, the world shifts in ways you never imagined. You begin to see the value of your own path. You honor your timing, embrace your purpose, and nurture your inner peace. You begin to understand that growth is not a race and success is not a comparison. It is a reflection of the work you do on yourself every single day. Your focus is your freedom. The moment you choose yourself over distraction, your thoughts over noise, and your growth over gossip, you step into your power. You stop being a passenger in your own life and become the driver. You start living intentionally, confidently, and passionately. You realize that peace, happiness, and fulfillment are not found outside. They were inside you all along. Take a deep breath, pause, and look at yourself with pride. Every small victory, every effort to rise above fear, every act of self-love has brought you here. You are enough. You are capable. And the most powerful version of your life is waiting for you. Not in someone else's story, but in your own. Today, decide to focus on yourself. Protect your energy. Celebrate your journey. Trust your timing. Listen to your inner voice. And let the world be the background while you create the masterpiece of your life. Because when you focus on yourself, not others, everything begins to fall into place. Your joy becomes your compass, your growth becomes your guide, and your freedom becomes your reality. Remember this, the life you've been searching for has been waiting for you all along. Focus on yourself, not them, and step fully into your power.